So do healthcare professionals recognize that corn is an actual addiction? They are starting to. So most of these people I'm going to name are doctors and psychologists. The first one that I absolutely love is Dr. Lawrence Tucker. He has devoted his life to this, and he has done MRI and SPECT brain scans on this to show that corn addiction is actually worse than heroin addiction. It actually damages the brain and leaves holes within the brain. There's Dr. Donald Hilton, Dr. Gail Dines, Dr. Paula Hall, Dr. Marianne Layden, Dr. Gary Brooks, Dr. Norman Doidge, I believe that's how you say his name. The most recent statistic we have for this is that 52% of marriages are ending up in divorce due to corn addiction. In 2021, 123 million people joined OF. Your Brain on Corn in this book talks about, if you listen to the Audible, that they would like to update the book because most of the information in there is irrelevant due to how crazy this epidemic is growing. So by the time they have the current research, that research is already dead and irrelevant because of how fast this is growing. You cannot find any information online about the growing statistic in pedos from now 10 years ago. But what they do know is that due to the dopamine release with these men and consuming hundreds of women online, which is what their brain was never meant to facilitate, the growing dopamine with that is that they need more vulgar and more reprobate content in order to get the same dopamine hit. So I know you mentioned in your content, like, what about people who are consuming basically child porn? Yeah, it ends up that way. That is the sad reality of this, is that by the time these men are usually 50, if even that, 40s or 50s, by the time this dopamine hit gets to that point, they are trying to consume child porn because the vulgar content that they're watching with women is not enough for the dopamine kick that they need. So that is why I could never tolerate, I could never stop speaking out against this. I could never shut up about it. I will never stop speaking out about this industry because I see that in the end, the children are the ones that are damaged the most by it. And yes, in the state of Florida, which is where we live, we can legally be coaches and help people with this. And when you say, well, you help heal, you can't really help people heal from this. You can help people get sobriety. Absolutely, you can. And you can walk them through a step-by-step program in that and gaining them recovery. You can point them to resources. You can point them to the right type of therapist they should be seeking. You can show them that, hey, you can heal from this. My husband's 3 years sober from this, and there's several men that are finding sobriety from this, thank God. And, you know, in the end, I don't understand why there's so much conflict here. You should be celebrating that men are finding sobriety from this and focusing on their wives and families, that they are working to help their children and rebuild those relationships, and that they are getting set free from this. So it's really interesting to me that this triggers you in some way, that these men are finding sobriety and that we are speaking out against it.